So to the folks that are quite right now sitting on the meeting text channel, go ahead and type question, and in front of the question, whatever questions you may have, and whoever is moderating, start pinning the messages to the channel. Rel, if you wanna open up the pinned messages, you can take a quick look at all the messages easily. If you see one that interests you and you want to jump into that, feel free. If not, I'm just going to jump into a few that we have here from the folks that have donated already. Some of the ones that I sent your way. So to start with, first one that we have here, let me open up my quick form here. Uber, do you want to shoot one of yours first here? Mine is opening up my document for a second here.
Yeah, I got the document. I had it still open. Hang on a sec. Just refresh it.
All right, I got it.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah, I got it. So, Rel, we asked a few people to send in their questions, as we said before. So, first one from Lord Gator. Lord Gator asks, and this is from the time that you've been, a developer, what is the feature that, you've implemented, it's been, thought of by you, that you're most proud of, There's something that's like my baby,
It's that's a really interesting question. I saw this question in advance, and I was racking my brain to try to figure out what that could be. But there's been so much that's been implemented over time. It's hard to say. Bastion Fleet Carrier was definitely like the biggest, coolest thing, for sure. But in the war asset system, that was pretty intense as well. But man, I think maybe NSO. It was something that I was wanting to do for a long time. If you go back a really long ways, there was a thread a long time ago talking about, and I'm sure I wasn't the first to come up with this idea by any means, but just like a fourth faction to help balance out the populations, since just over the years, population disparity has been a real issue that had no great solutions for. NSO was kind of the one way to address it, and I think just since it was implemented on the 6-man team in particular, it was a pretty massive undertaking.
Yeah.
And it was. I think that's one of them for sure.
Yeah, and NSO being done in a team of 6 people is definitely some monumental work in there. All right, sounds good. Next one up, and this one is from Kasami. And I feel like this, is a pretty good question in general. She asks, have you guys ever thought about implementing more customization for female characters? So more like on the character creating screen, probably, like giving more options on that stuff?
I think male, female, masculine, feminine aside, I think that more customization would be nice. We do have some thoughts on how to achieve that next year, but nothing is set in stone. Definitely something that I would say we'd like to do. It's character customization is something that even with it being a first-person game, and you don't really see your character all that often, it's still a big part of what players kind of gravitate toward. They want to feel like they have a unique look, even if it's not something that they see all the time. And it would certainly be nice. And like I said, some plans for next year, though nothing's set in stone.
Yep, sounds good. Good to hear. All right, so this one up next is, pretty impactful, and you've read it before, but, I feel like this may be something pretty big from Slave Philly, he asks, are you guys planning on somehow implementing the new vehicles fully into the game? So we're talking about the Lodestar, the Deliverer, and the Wasp. Are those going to be like staying and getting customized loadouts and changing weapons and all that kind of stuff? Or is this something we're going to have for the campaign and let it fly away afterwards?
The campaign vehicles, or the prototype vehicles rather, they give us an opportunity to test ideas. The Galaxy had AMS capabilities forever ago.
Yep.
And though kind of the landscape has changed a lot over time, so it was I kind of had a personal curiosity as to what that would look like in a game that's much different nowadays. I think redeploy side in general has kind of always been a thing in various forms, but it's definitely easier to kind of respawn around the map now, and the overall intensity of the gameplay is kind of sped up. So whether or not the Lodestar has a place was a question that I wanted to try to answer, and then just more spawn options in general, like the Deliverer. You don't see it a whole lot currently, but I feel like it's working pretty well in its limited capacity. So knowing that those concepts are potentially viable, it does give us a path in the future if we want to kind of revisit it and make it into a real vehicle. No clear decisions yet. Actually, you're going to hear that a lot, kind of throughout all of this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's kind of the impetus for it in the first place, is to feel things out and see whether or not it'd be something that people would enjoy.
Yeah, but that's a pretty good way to approach it. Like, use it as a test bed, see how it works. Because I feel like in the beginning, people tried to make the Lodestar work, and ever since we haven't been seeing them used all that much because they're pretty fragile, very exposed. So yeah, it's a pretty good opportunity to test. Nice to hear that. Keeping that in mind. Sounds good. So up next. Oh yeah, this is a fantastic one. Love Mike. Mike, I love you, buddy. And this Wrel, this is something that we take pretty seriously here in SKL. We tend to think that the public leading and being out there for the casual players and the new players whenever they join is one of the ways that we can do this. But Mike has a pretty good question that we as players, what do you think we can do to assist in player retention somehow? Do you think like platoon leading? Is there anything else we can do as just players in the game to assist in keeping the new blood that we get every day?
Yeah, I think that players are probably the most valuable asset when it comes to getting people to stick around. I mean, the first experience that a player has, past the tutorial, is it's make or break. At least that seems to be the case, just based on years of data and that sort of thing. When players jump in and they hit it off with the squad that's being communicative and being positive and taking them to good fun fights, it's a totally different experience than if you were to drop in and kind of just not know what to do for a while and then just get dunked on and then leave. So I would say, as far as SKL goes, keep doing what you're doing. Public platoons are a great way to help kind of just keep up the interest and introduce new players to the game. There's definitely a good way, or a new player conducive way to platoon lead, and then there's kind of the other way, which is sometimes you have people who are being very intense about capturing objectives, and if you don't listen, then they kick you from the platoon. And while that's great for people that if you're playing that sort of gameplay, but it's also not very helpful to keep people around. They just get disheartened and kind of take off. So I think you are all doing a great job, and we can definitely stand to see more of this sort of behavior in the game.
Yep, appreciated. So this one from Communist Cat Girl, that's Jason Cairn. So are you guys thinking about any small kind of changes to the other continents to come with Osher? I know there has been a few integrations here and there, a few things changing here and there whenever you launch something big. Are we going to see, small changes to Indar, small changes to Hossin, or is that something, later down the line?
We were hoping to to touch continents a little bit more periodically, but definitely didn't pan out this year. It's been a little bit tumultuous.
Yeah, very understandable. Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, in general, I think it's something that we can potentially do in the future. It's hard to talk about because regardless of what changes you make to a map, the payoff isn't really there. So it needs to be something that we kind of want to do, just like on a personal level, and kind of set aside time for. I mean, I know that the community might disagree, like, this thing is broken and this is what's killing the game or driving people away, but realistically, it's never that simple, and we've changed maps plenty over time. I mean, Indar has been touched like 9 times, and the benefits that you see from it are so marginal and then fleeting. Like they don't last all that long either. Normally it acts as a way to kind of like poke veterans again who are already engaged in the game, loosely, and then it'll re-engage them, for that update. Like it's a good bullet to have, like on your patch notes, but outside of that, it's really hard to speak to the kind of the long-term benefits. If we were to do something really drastic, different ball game probably. And I think that Osher has a lot of concepts tied to it that we're kind of exploring, and we'll see how that goes. It could be, hopefully it's some things that we've learned over time, and alternatively, hopefully it's some things that we can kind of experiment with and apply to other continents. I think the only change that you will see though with the Osher update is that all water will act like water on all the continents. So crossing the river on Ázimir will be very easy to do.
Give us at least one lake on Indar, and that's enough.
Yeah, I mean, we just flood J908 and then call it good.
Oh yeah, just one lake, and that's all good. All right, sounds good. Now, another one that is about Osher as well, and this, it's kind of another direct one from My asks, can you give us any, sneak peeks or any tips towards what the water weapons are going to look like? Are they going to be Empire specific? Is there anything you can tell us about the underwater weapons?
So to start, there's going to be a total of 4 weapons that can fire underwater. The first of which is a pistol, and that's the one that you're going to be rewarded with at the end of the campaign. And then there's also an assault rifle for completing Chapter 2 of the campaign. So if you're completing the entire campaign, which I think many of you probably will, you're going to get two weapons that could fire underwater, kind of for a really inexpensive cost. But they're like NS. It's actually a little bit undecided who they're coming from lore wise, because I don't think it would be.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't think it would be NS proper. It would probably be. We're kind of sort of building out nascent expeditions.
To be a major faction, sort of.
Yeah, I wouldn't say like a major faction,
but at least like fighting, a side player.
Yeah, exactly. Like they give you like tools and stuff, and those tools should have their own identities. And these underwater weapons would potentially be something that maybe their field operatives kind of have access to.
That is actually really amazing world building. I like that a lot.
Yeah. Let's see. So, but those are only going to be those will be the only weapons that you have access to after the campaign. And then we'll see how it goes. If we want to do like an entire update that's kind of like focused around water, and like we want to open up, or if we wanted to open up combat in the water, that's kind of a massive undertaking in and of itself, and it couldn't be jammed into the Osher update if we wanted to make it fit into any sort of reasonable timeline. So we'll see how this kind of dipping our toes into the water, as it were, goes, and then we'll see where we decide to take it.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds great. This one is a pretty interesting one. I really want to hear this one, and I'm not sure if your answer may have changed throughout the years. But from this one's from Squiffles. If you were starting the game today, first time playing PlanetSide 2, you just log into the game, do you still pick VS, or would you choose another faction as your main faction?
I am.
Yeah.
This is a trick question. No, I'm a fan of VS just for the sake of the technology in particular. That's something that I feel like this game could stand to do a little bit more. All the factions, they do have their own personalities, and those are great. But the VS one is kind of what I gravitated toward. I think that might be the case again. Though my second favorite faction, despite the smack talking earlier today, is TR. Like, I like the Prowler, I like their weapons.
Oh yeah.
Just the aesthetic in general is kind of fun. But yeah, I think so. Probably VS.
Nice. Yeah. We're very happy with that answer, Wrel.
He knows his audience.
Oh yeah. So yeah, nice one. So up next here, and this one, Wrel, this is the most important question of the entire pool that we got, right? So Princess Paul, and I'm gonna insert one before we actually ask the question. Do you still have your bandana? Like, does it still exist?
Yes, it exists. It is
It
not
exists.
it exists. It's not nearly as green as it was in that original picture.
How much for the bandana? Would you be willing to maybe sell the bandana? And I'm sure the PlanetSide community would pay a lot of money for that bandana.
It kind of has sentimental value at this point, and also a lot of sweat on it. So I think I'll just hold on to it.
Understandable, yes. Nice. So Salmisra, this one, she asks, do you guys think about the underused bases? And this probably relates to a bit of game flow and all that stuff. The bases surrounding the warp gates, is that something you guys look at from time to time, or are looking at on Osher? The bases that get underused a lot.
Yes and no. So the bases that are kind of near the warp gate they're a fun change of pace every once in a while, but they wouldn't be good to fight at all the time. But likewise, we don't really have an incentive to revamp those bases just because they're not fought at a lot, right? So I think when it comes to one thing that I've kind of been okay, I have to preface this by this may probably never happen. The standard disclaimer, but something that I was kind of interested in, and it was intended to be brought on with the original concept of Osher back in 2018 or whenever it was that the bastions would kind of orbit the map. So your warp gate, essentially, your spawn point would rotate.
Yep.
And because of that, you could fight at any base, basically. And so all the bases could be good. They could always be kind of shaken up from time to time. But that concept also has some flaws with it, or some
lattice lines and stuff would be hard to have cohesive territory, right?
Exactly. And just like that with the battle lines shifting, it could be just more difficult to keep track of. But he also had this, again, may never happen, also had this concept for invading continents. And I think that's kind of the solution to the intercontinental lattice, because intercontinental lattice, people say they want it. I don't know that they do, because it would be people fighting over basically the same places a lot of the time, for reasons that, well, I'm sure Vindicor has some stuff mapped out somewhere. But my alternative to it is to do kind of an invasion mechanic where you would attack a continent from a specific angle, and it'd be using Bastion Fleet carriers.
Oh, that would be so nice. Yeah, that sounds great.
It's a good concept, probably never going to happen. There is loads of work there.
Yeah, hard to implement. Yeah, I can understand.
But I think that would be kind of the solution to making the maps more usable from more angles, at least conceptually.
Yeah, but it's the sort of stuff that's hard to I feel like it would be hard to implement from a retrospective sort of point. As if Osher is going to be the only one like that, we would want the other ones like that too, right? And that creates a whole lot of other problems. So yeah, we can understand. But yeah, all great ideas. Looking forward to see Osher, bro. The hype right now is insane in here. So nice. So next one here, we're finishing up with the submitted ones we got from Wukening. Are there any plans to bring a new batch of weapons with the Osher update? And maybe talking here about a few more Empire specific guns. I know it's a bit more on the hard work side, and it would involve a whole lot of more work. But is that something you guys are looking into?
So for new weapons, the only ones that you're going to see with the OSHA release will very likely be the underwater ones.
All right. Yep.
But as far as new weapons in general, like definitely have some plans throughout the entire year. Also, just to answer chat, because I've actually seen this come up a few times. I actually did not play Planetside 1. So I think that there's a little bit of some misinformation that's kind of like floated around. I actually only jumped in to play Planetside 1 during there was like an anniversary event. I think it was, oh, right. It was an event.
Yeah.
And that was the only time. So I actually missed it. I was more of a Tribes player way back.
Nice. Yeah. Pretty good too. So yeah, sounds good. Now, final ones here, Rel. This one's from Kazdar, one of the leads here. And this one is kind of a deep question. Not so sure how you can approach it, but like, is there something specific? Kazdar, you can go ahead and ask it yourself if you want.
Sure. I was just going to ask, is there anything about developing PlanetSide 2 that you think the wider community just doesn't really get? Because obviously it's a very unique game. It's a super old game at this point. I mean, not like incredibly old, but it's got some years on it. And I think the community has a bit of an understanding of like, oh, it's difficult to implement some things, but sometimes they're like, oh, they should just fix this thing, and then it takes ages to fix. Or they say, oh, it's impossible for them to implement this thing, and then you guys end up implementing it in the next update. So is there anything like that you think the community doesn't really get that maybe would be helpful for them to understand?
Ooh. Yeah, that's a really good question that has a lot of different answers. So when it comes to players, thinking that something is easy or thinking of something that is difficult, and this is, I would say, for like most games, it's usually more difficult than you think. Like even the simplest stuff, but it totally depends on people's pipeline. So like what engine they're using, just even what their workflow is. It can vary so much that it's difficult to know kind of what's going on behind the curtain. With that being said, though, when it comes to the sort of like one of the misconceptions, the one that I butt up against a lot just by reading feedback is what people think will make the game or what will fix the game's problems. Right. I think we all kind of have our own list of things that are like we need this, or like why don't they just do this other thing, and it's a really difficult situation to talk about. I feel like not so difficult to develop for, as maybe pompous as that might sound. But there's multiple different types of players within our game. Or there's two major groups, I would say. The first of which is you have the sweaty tryhards who they really like infantry, they really like the gunplay. I lovingly call them sweaty tryhards, but and then you have the more tactical side.
We all call them that.
Well, and that's kind of what they want from the game is very different than what like more I would say more casual players. Like even though like the platoon leading and that sort of thing is more intense, I would say that on the micro scale, it's a little bit more or it's less.
Less FPS skill based, I think. Like
totally. It's the combined arms versus the 1v1, right?
Yes.
That sort of mentality. And because of that, the game is very you have diverging opinions for what needs to be developed or what should be the priority. Like there's people who have entire dedicated Reddit accounts talking about a very specific problem, X, Y, or Z. Like maxes are ruining everything, and it, regardless of kind of what changes over time as far as balance is concerned, it's unless it's like a sweeping change, like a Combined Arms Initiative, because that was a big thing that we got a lot wrong with. The vast majority of it has been reeled back kind of over time or made better in some cases. But in general, small changes to balance, they don't really affect anything. It's a little depressing maybe to think about, but it's one of those things that never moves the needle. It never has. And it's something that's difficult to kind of devote attention to if you're expecting a return. Like it's good for like upkeeping and for just being a good shepherd of the game and trying to make sure that everything is as balanced as it can be so that the overall experience is better. But those small little complaints, they just, it's hard to factor them into the broader scale. What does bring people back to the game is part of its marketing, with just like, something flashy. It's good to have an update kind of wrapped around, just because it's good to talk about. So like Escalation Update was massively successful, and a lot of it was due to just how flashy it was. Added a lot of depth, with the outfit system, and granted the outfit resource system is not a huge fan of it at the moment, but just in general, like you need those sort of big showy elements in order to also do the smaller, I would say like the tightening up of the game. Like it has to come in tandem with everything else. Yeah, that's how you create the wins. And unfortunately, those have kind of a long development cycle. So over the past, I guess since 2020, we've kind of been laying the foundation for systems that we could get like a better return on investment out of. So like missions, and well, it was intended to be the campaign too, but the campaign turned out to be a lot more work to create a campaign than we kind of expected. But those systems and Outfit Wars as well, which has its own problems, were kind of intended to be easy ways for us to kind of interject interest back into the game, to bring players back, while also giving us time to work on like core features and make sure things are kind of being shored up on that end. It's a balancing act, I would say.
Yeah. And I feel like since the last ever since Escalation, especially, you guys have been doing a fantastic job of always like putting something flashy out, like you said, but then hiding something in for the salties, in the back as well. There's a lot of stuff that has been worked on, that has been around for a long time, and things that people have been complaining for a while that have been following the big updates. So that's something that, I feel like a lot of the community is very happy, is when, we open up the patch notes, we see the big stuff and go like, yeah, I already knew about that. And then we get to the small letters and we see like one small change that everybody goes like, oh, thank God. Yes. Now we can see the squad voice from the map screen.
Yeah, that sort of stuff. And just like the bug fixes for, we fixed a lot of bugs this year. Just
it has been
general.
amazing. Yeah, just amazing. So yeah, let's keep moving up, because I have a few more in here. So let me see here. Next one. So Angel of Darkness asks, if Osher goes well, and the more logistical side of things that you guys have been talking about works well, are you guys thinking about doing more of this sort of logistics, or maybe redesign a few other things around the new kind of logistics that you guys are bringing to the table?
It's difficult to say. The spawn system revamp was kind of on my list of things to do for 2021, and that didn't really manifest. But I think in general the game it's gotten too fast, and I would love to kind of move back more toward a more strategic side of gameplay, without also alienating the players who just want to get to like a good fight. And it's a balancing act that I don't have all the answers to, unfortunately, but hopefully we see like some stuff that's a little bit different with Osher that might change behavior in just enough of a way to find like that happy medium. Osher will have a lattice. It will have a lot of dev-driven bases. We've created many of them. But I think at the same time, there is going to be a big emphasis on moving your players around the map and kind of fighting in the in-between field. So we'll see how things go.
Yep, sounds good.
And did I answer that question? Maybe I missed the mark.
No, yeah, it's like it's really hard to answer like in any practical sense, right? I feel like there's a lot of testing going on with all this stuff. If it goes well, implement down the line. If it doesn't work, change. So that's a pretty good way to keep working out, and I feel like that's kind of what you guys are going for with some of what has been implemented lately. And yeah, it's great.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Rel Ubercastar, just real quick here, because we are running with limited time here, and we have quite a few people here. So Rel, we have another handful of questions that have been submitted that we wanted to send your way. But just before we get to the final ones, I wanted to give an opportunity here for a few folks to just drop by and maybe ask a question from themselves. Just because we invited quite a lot of people. We actually invited everyone that participated in the fundraiser to be here, and I'm really glad you guys made it. Kamikaze wanted to be here too. He sadly, this is his Monday, so he couldn't make it. So most of the people that was in the Extra Life fundraiser made it here. So Sirius, if you're still around, Archie, if you're still around, and the 2Ref folks, if you guys have a quick question here, we're gonna pull you guys up. Make your questions real fast here, because we don't want to run out of time. And then we are going to drop the final ones and wrap it up. So Sirius, Archie, and Kaya. So can you guys help me out to bring them up? So Kaya, Jordy. Let's get them up here just real quick. Give them a quick word. Hannibal and Jordy. Where are you at, Jordy?
I'm here.
Oh, there we go.
And then Archie's got his as well.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Archie's... Yeah, there we go. Yeah, everyone's here. So, folks, let's go from the top down. So, Hannibal, you first, bro, from 2Ref.
I was actually... Okay. Can you guys hear me? Cool. So... First, I just want to say, thank you, obviously, to SKL and to Rel, to SKL for hosting it and Rel for the game in general and keeping it maintained. Lots of love for that. The big question I had is Outfit Wars. So I'm a huge fan of Outfit Wars. I think that the combined arms aspect of it, forcing people to use vehicles, construction, air, and infantry is pretty much the essence of Planetside, especially since it's a 1v1v1. I know a lot of people were kind of grumpy or raging about the lack of IVI score equaling victory, but I personally think it was a galaxy brain design. My question for Outfit was, with the current lack of large midfits or large-scale outfits propagating across the game, are there plans to allow outfits to kind of band together in alliances or whatever Outfit was, or is it going to take a different approach in the next iteration, if there will be a next iteration? Because I personally can't wait for Outfit Wars to come back, and I'm just kind of wondering how that's going to work. And I have a lore question as well, but I'll ask that. So
I feel like a lot of people have kind of expressed the same thing. Alliances is definitely something that we wanted to do. It's, we really should.
Hard to implement, though.
Yes, yeah. And that's kind of what it comes down to. There's a couple of different paths that we can take. So even if you were to implement, for example, alliances, you still have kind of some fundamental issues with the 1v1v1 format, and unfortunately, because of how things kind of shaped up toward the start of this year, it kind of I wish that everybody kind of played nice, but it's kind of a failure of the design. It makes sense to try to double team, to put somebody in second place. So unless we address that, we have to kind of go a different direction and do a 1v1, one outfit versus one outfit. That is also it's a whole lot of work to go that direction, which is something that's been preventing us from doing it from the start. And as far as Outfit Wars coming back, though, yes. Like, I would even like to see it back just as a show match. You know, get a bunch of people and kind of just see what shakes out, even if it's not in a tournament format, because it's cool. Like, just having everybody kind of, you know, be in like everybody be on the same page, basically. Just like, yeah, take your outfit, try to dust the other ones, and then there's some bragging rights associated with it. Like, to me, that's really what competition is kind of like forged out of, you know, from the base. So I would definitely like to see it come back. Have some plans to bring Outfit Wars back in 2022, but we'll have to see how that shapes out, especially with Osher kind of getting pushed into January. Our timeline, I think it needs to be adjusted kind of all across the board. So there needs to be like a reevaluation of what 2022 looks like.
Thank you. And my lore question, just real fast. I've been arguing this until I'm blue in the face with people, but is it true? Like, my understanding is that Araxis is full of cities and civilians and all kinds of stuff, and then there's like immortal soldiers fighting over critical locations on the planet. Is that correct, or is it just everyone's an immortal soldier and the only places on the planet are the continents we see?
You know, I actually, so that's kind of my take too, but I don't have a hard answer for you, which I'm sorry.
Oh no!
That is a pretty interesting one, though. Nice.
Yeah. So because you can either go two directions, and we've kind of dabbled in both of them. To where the first is like, oh no, all the civilians live in Sanctuary, and Sanctuary is not just one place; it's many satellites that are located, you know, around Araxis, which totally makes sense to some degree. But it kind of also makes sense that the continent, each continent is kind of an abstract. Just from a gameplay perspective, like the continents, when you break down their size, they'd be like what, like the size of New York or like something like that, just like some sprawling city, which isn't really a continent; it's just like an island. So what they are, at least what they should be, is an abstract of like a larger place. So what you're saying about they're basically combat areas. I would say on those continents when you think about it from the lore perspective, but there's definitely some suspension of disbelief that you need to get through in order to think about it that way. And I don't think we make it clear anywhere in the lore, one way or the other.
Yeah, I only asked because there's some images on the website of like NC operatives like nuking cities and stuff with rocket launchers. So I assumed that the combat areas were like just like highly critical resource areas, and then the rest of the world is just like civilian centers and Terran Republic fortifications and stuff in the old.
Yeah, that's kind of, yeah. I would say it's half and half until we decide which direction to go. It's going to be a little bit wishy-washy canonically.
Well, sounds good. Hannibal, I'm going to pass it on. We have quite a few still.
Thank you.
Yep, appreciate it, buddy. Thanks for dropping by. Sirius, you know, I'm pretty sure you have quite a few. Once again, thank you for coming, sir.
Of course, man. No, I don't have a lot of questions. Well, are you guys still working independently, or are you guys back in the office together?
We're working from home for the most part. Yeah, we're able to go back into the office at this point under safe circumstances. But you know, it's kind of I think at this point it'd be disruptive unless we were all there or aren't, or all work from home. Something that's half and half doesn't really make sense unless there's like a long-term planning that we need to kind of do all together. I do definitely miss being in the office though, and just being able to wave your hands in front of a whiteboard and communicate ideas that way. Hopefully we get back to it at some point, but you never know.
I just think it'd be fun for the community to like buy everyone, you know, host a lunch or something in your office for Christmas.
Oh yeah,
or something like that. I just know everyone like throw down a couple bucks, you know, pass the hat.
Definitely.
Is that something we could work out, or is that just too complex under the current scenario?
I think under the current situation, it's probably too complex, but I definitely appreciate the thought.
Let us know when then.
Next Christmas we'll try it. Next Christmas.
Yeah,
for sure.
Cool. Thanks.
Yep, appreciate it, Sirius. Thanks for dropping by. These now Jordy and Kaya, you guys have one question each, just so we can keep moving it up. And yep, thank you guys for dropping by.
No, thanks for having us. I don't have a question. I just wanted to say, SKL, amazing job with the charity. That's absolutely incredible what you guys managed to do this year. And Wrel, thank you so much for everything you and the team have done for PlanetSide. Past few years have been incredible.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Amen. Amen, brother.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah, I also wanted to say thank you to Orban SKL for inviting us to take part. Super proud of all the contributions from all the individuals, the outfits, the content creators. We did a great job, great effort from everybody to support a great cause. Hope we see it again next year. So my main question is, I believe that outfits are a great staple to making the most out of Planetside. I was wondering if there's any new tools on the horizon for outfits or any sort of like update, such as, I guess that's a very broad question, such as repurposing the merit, something like outfit waypoints, being able to upload new outfit logos.
Yeah, so far as the kind of the Player Studio situation with outfits or outfit logos kind of in general, that's all on, it's paused for now. And unfortunately, I don't have like an ETA on when that situation would change, unfortunately. But as far as outfit tools goes, merit definitely needs to be reworked. I think the outfit resource system in general needs to be reworked. It was doing what we kind of intended it to do in early days, but much like many features, the way that they're used over time, it changes a lot, and kind of our designs need to be tempered too. So I don't have great answers, but looking at merit again or outright removing it potentially is something that we've discussed.
All right, cool. I guess one minor question underneath that about outfits are there going to be any plans for like rebalancing base cap scoring, or just redoing it in general?
I don't have any plans currently, but I would be interested to know what people's ideas are on how to make that kind of like fair, because it definitely, it was easy to exploit in early days, and that's why we kind of had to be so restrictive with it. But now I don't feel like it's in a great place either. So I'm definitely open to suggestions.
All right, cool. That's all my questions. Thank you, man.
Yep, sounds good. I really appreciate you guys dropping by. Jordy, I know it was last time, but we're kind of keeping it under the reps, so not everybody was going to drop by to nuke Wrel out of the sky. But glad you guys could make it. And yeah, definitely thank you all for, joining us on the fundraiser there. Fantastic work this year, as always. Just to wrap it up here, and then we go to the final questions we have. Archie, floor is yours, buddy.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you, SKL, for inviting me to this, as well as Rogue Planet Games Wrel for thinking about adding me to the Extra Life. It was a lot of fun to do it. Everybody was just unbelievable. We basically went beyond. I think OSHA manager, aka Orby, did a really good job
Yep.
expressing that. At the same time, it's been a rough 2 years for all developers around the world, and especially Rogue Planet Games. I've known that, and I think Commander Sirius already answered that question for me, but I just want to personally thank you, Wrel, and everybody at Rogue Planet Games and everybody in Planetside for making it that much more fun. And so my only question would be Twitch. Is there any Twitch integration for like Twitch Prime users to get involved in their favorite Twitch streamers when they're content creating, or is there anything that is going to give you the ability to know if that person is live on stream, if they're in the game? Like, is there anything like that coming out in the later years?
I don't have any plans for it currently, but doing like, a Twitch drops sort of thing was something that we had discussed in the past. And ultimately what it came down to, outside of just the difficulty of doing that, because you do need somebody to kind of, you need somebody to work on it from like our side as far as the API is concerned. But didn't really have anything to give away, like outside of implant packs, which is cool. Yeah, so it's definitely been talked about, but I would say that there's no plans right now. That might change in the future. It kind of depends on what resources we have access to. I do feel like the streamers are kind of like a big asset to the community, when it comes to showcasing just the work of other outfits. Actually, you've done an amazing job at that. I think between you and Planetside Battles in particular have done some of some of the best showcasing from that perspective, like over the years. Yeah, I wish I had some more something better to offer, but that's kind of where we stand right now.
No, I appreciate it. I just wanted to add that feedback in there. And I know there's one more person in the chat that's asking about PS4. I feel like we should give some love to them. Do you want to add anything about what's going on PS4 if there's not already on Twitter or on the forums?
Yeah, so PlayStation 4 has actually been, outside of having to disable Asmir and then cancel the third campaign, or the third chapter of the first campaign, which we have rewarded everybody who participated in the first or second chapters. We just gave them all the rewards for free. PS4 is actually pretty close to being in parity with PC, outside of construction and Outfit Wars and Asmir, which has its own problems. We're unfortunately butting up against memory issues with the PlayStation 4, and we kind of always have, but as the PC version of the game kind of moves forward, it makes it a little bit more difficult for us, or we need to be more cautious with what we introduce to PlayStation 4. But as it currently stands, PlayStation 4 should be getting access to Osher. We have developed it in such a way that, well, I guess we'll kind of see when it comes down to it, but we expect that Osher should be fine for PlayStation 4. And the continent itself, while it does have a construction sort of emphasis, it's also not necessary to do that. So we have had some discussions about bringing construction to the PS4, and the only thing that stands in the way of that currently is just concerns about performance. So until we get some time to kind of to do more testing, essentially, we can't make a decision one way or the next. But I think ideally the situation would be that PS4 would be in parity with PC. But unfortunately, there's just hurdles that we kind of struggle to overcome.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man. And I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday, guys.
Yep, you too, Archie. Thanks a lot for dropping by, bro.
Of course.
I really appreciate it, man.
Always a pleasure.
Alrighty, so that was kind of all of our special guests in here. We also have Kamikaze that's just chilling in chat in there. You know, the MVP himself, the man who pulled all the weight on the Extra Life. Kami, if you want to drop by, just send him a DM. We can pull you up. But for now, he's just chilling in there. So everyone say hi to Kami in the meeting text channel. Yeah, so Wrel, I know we've been running, and you know we've been keeping you busy for a while, so we want to start wrapping it up here. We just have a few more questions that were submitted, and then from there, if you go up on the text channels, you're gonna realize that we had about like maybe 200 questions. Like we've had quite a few questions, so we're definitely not gonna be able to go through all of them. So I'm gonna make you like the final few questions that we have here submitted. And then if you want to go over, you know, if you see any that catches your eyes in there, feel free to answer them. So, you know, just one of the final ones here. And Uber, if you know where we stopped there and you want to jump in here, feel free. I'm a bit lost here. I'm still using push to talk. Sergeant Cody asks, and yeah, I think it's from Sergeant Cody. So Sergeant Cody asks, and this is an interesting one. You know, with a community being this salty, you know, and getting, like Cardo said, all that time way back when, getting so much, you know, stuff from the community. How do you keep yourself, you know, motivated and, you know, keep pushing up professionally, seeing all the salt that everybody drops around you and the game as well?
I mean, that's a good question, and I have sort of like a pragmatic take on it. So firstly, while it is annoying, I don't mind when people take jabs at me. I do really mind when they take jabs at my team, though. I would rather be the lightning rod for like all the negative attention, because
Guess it's working.
Yeah, and that's for better or for worse. Unfortunately, like it can shape some conversations in negative ways based on just like what like the community is excited to talk about, or just what is bugging them the most right now, and then they sort of bandwagons and spirals out of it. But I think that understanding that behavior is kind of what keeps me sane. I can look at it and say like, oh, okay, well, they're really spun up about this right now. Like, how do we try to resolve it? At the end of the day, though, this is going to sound awful. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter about you. The people who are like complaining and whining, like or like jabbing me, like it's about making a better game, and I'm gonna do that regardless. So suck my nuts.
Yes.
Well done.
Well done. Yes.
Pow.
Yeah, we need to send that to quite a few people around. Yeah, but Rel, one nice thing to add to that question, is that, and I feel like you probably know this better than everyone. A lot of the community is very loud, but they're loud when they're complaining, and outside of those loud people, you have a whole other universe of people that are really appreciating the work of the entire team. And sometimes I think it's our fault that we don't get, loud enough. We don't get anywhere near as loud as the people that are complaining about one small thing. So, keep that in mind too. We're here appreciating the game and loving it more than ever. So, yep. Kami, that is a pretty good question. Can you get that decal in game, Rel? Can we get a suck my nuts decal in game?
I hope not.
Oh yeah.
But so, and like you said, like there's knowing that there's kind of this people who are enjoying, there's thousands of players who enjoy our game every day, and that is something that I try to pass on to my team too, because they need, it can be difficult, to look and just see negativity up there on the boards or what have you, especially when they're working just crazy hard to deliver something amazing for everybody else. So fortunately, like I feel in general like we have a really good community, and I wouldn't trade it for much anything.
I can relate to that. Yes. So yeah, appreciate it, Rel. Final ones here. So let me see. So from Noah, and Noah, I'm gonna pick just one of your questions here. Rel, have you guys ever thought, or do you have any plans on doing something else about the outfits? Maybe giving more outfit management tools, more ranks, just touching the outfit system in any other way? Is that ever something you guys discussed or plan on discuss at some point?
Progression in general is kind of something that we've touched on. So not tools. How we looked into the outfit ranks thing, back when escalation hit, and unfortunately, just because of how it was architected, it was not an intuitive and like easy thing to do. So we increased the ranks just kind of like as a baseline, and hoped that was enough for people to make use of. But as far as tools goes, real plans for it currently.
We're not here to request, but Hannibal Forge brings up a very important one. Having an outfit ban feature would help a lot. Because especially for outfits that run open and people can just join without any implementation, it's really hard to keep the bad people out, because you kick them and they just rejoin, and it's hard to maintain the outfit floating when you want to stay open. So that's a good point there. Yeah, we in SKL we need to do that almost once a week when we get someone. Yeah, once we get a troll or a hacker to join SKL, we need to close recruitment for a few days just to let that people kind of die out and try not to rejoin. But yeah,
and then we miss the new players coming in that might get brought into our community, miss out because we have it closed and we don't sometimes see it too.
So I feel like that's probably something that we can swing.
Yep. So again, no request, but that's a good point there, Hannibal. Thanks for bringing it up. Uber and Castar, help me up here if you can, because I feel like we're on the last one from the list.
Correct. Yep.
All right, so the last one from the list, and this one is from Blade. Rel, not sure if you're particularly familiar with him, but Blade, VS Blade, is one of the streamers for SKL. He is like streaming almost every day, platoon leading for SKL. And he's also someone that discusses all the time, like, what can we do? How can we assist the community? Is there something else we can do as, someone that's streaming or just the outfit in general? So Blade asks, do you think there's something the community can do to help share information and, maybe empower you guys somehow? And this is actually something that I wanted to talk about as well. Blade discussed this with me in the past. Stuff like bringing in streamers, assisting on Twitch, or, maybe mobilizing the community to do something. Similar to what we did, some time ago, where the community kind of bomb reviewed PlanetSide on Steam to try to put it on the front page. Do you guys ever think about stuff like that? That you go like, hey, if the community did this, it would be great for us. And if not, can we talk about that at some point? Because we have a lot of people willing to assist and mobilize to help you guys somehow. With publicity or with reach outs or with whatever it is. And, I feel like we lack that line, to talk to you guys and see, hey, what can we do that would be beneficial? So again, I think I hijacked the question there, but that's it.
Yeah, I think one of those things, rather, the difficulty of that has always been kind of like how we maintain our line of communication. Obviously, I'm developing and also running the studio and everything else. So, but our community manager Mithril, he's done a great job, orchestrating kind of the extra life stuff. And I think as he becomes more comfortable with and just kind of like interacting with the community, the things like there might be more opportunities there, kind of in the long run. But that's definitely the best route to take, is to kind of just keep it in our mind too, because even if we have like a whole lot going on this month or for the first half of the year, if there's ever a gap to where we don't have a whole lot of overhead to kind of deal with it, there's nothing to say that we couldn't do like more community oriented events, and that sort of thing, or like reach out and have you all help us, be it with promotion or introducing new players to the game or otherwise. I'd definitely be interested in what the ideas are for that too.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm telling you this right now, not only personally, but from the other people that we have here. If there is like a window for us to do something, akin to that in the OSHA update, which I feel like once again is a big wave for PlanetSide. It's going to be great. It's going to bring a lot of players. It may be a good opportunity to hype everybody back up into the game. If we get a window of opportunity to assist you guys with the publicity somehow, we are all going to jump on it, and maybe we can get together and discuss a few things that we can do, bring streamers back and bomb the reviews on Steam again to try to bring it to the front page, stuff like that. Those are just a few practical examples. I'm pretty sure the community can think about a lot of other stuff. But if there is a window for us to do something like that, we will absolutely. Like we want to assist the game and make sure it stays alive and well for as long as it can. So maybe let's talk about it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to grab all the ideas and kind of send it our way. Archie has definitely done similar things in the past, and whether or not we can action on them is always like a totally different question. Yeah. But
it's understandable. Sounds good. Yeah, really appreciate it, Rel. Now, Kaz, Uber, do we have any others? Because I think that's all from me. I kind of ran out in here.
That's it from the list. We just have the pile in the chat.
Yeah. All right.
The pile.
Other than the ones that we already have between us three.
So, Rel, as I said, like I'm not sure how your time is looking in there. We may not be able to jump, back again. Like, how are you looking there? Can we make a few more? Like, do you want to wrap it up already? I don't want to keep you here for a lot more, so maybe just a few more.
Do you want me to do like a lightning round thing for the?
Your call. Your call. I wanted. Yeah, we have all them compiled. I wanted to drop one of mine, Rel, and Uber wants to add in on top of that one. This is, pretty important question for, I feel like some of the people in this call as well, and something that the community, the leadership in the community asks a lot. And I know it's kind of a specific topic is, in regards to the player studio, I know there's no work being done on that area right now. And this is more of a getting it to sleep, putting it to rest and for us to not have to talk about it anymore. Is there ever going to be like an opportunity, or is there even a discussion on maybe bringing Player Studio back in some capacity to work on outfit logos in game once again? And Uber can add in, to the specific case in here. So if you want to add, Uber.
Yeah, so specifically for SKL, we put forward money to get a new logo done, and I am very keen to get that in game, whatever it takes. I can talk offline about it. I own the copyright. I have all the proof and evidence that it's mine, and I just really would like to go and find a way to see if we can get the new logo in game, because we've been using the Black Sun for a very long time. That has been part of our identity, but it's it doesn't show our identity, and our community is getting pretty big, and I really want to see if we can get something going for at least our community members. And if the Player Studio writ large actually gets added again, that also would be fantastic. But I'm selfish. I'm concerned about us first.
Yeah.
We can definitely talk about it offline. I feel like, the kind of the rule right now, the baseline rule is that we're not accepting anymore. But I have made a couple of exceptions in the past. What it comes down to is, so we could talk about it offline. If you have all the documentation and stuff, I would be interested to.
Yeah, absolutely. I did have a question for myself that I wanted to ask as well before we start jumping off. You see, there's a lot of assets that were in the game previously. For like example, the referral program had certain weapons for like all the tanks, and then you had like the top gunners for the tanks that's been sitting in PTS for a very long time. Something that's near and dear to me, and I'm curious if it's ever going to come back, is the toilet bowl flesh horn. Is there any plans at all to release that again, maybe?
That will
or maybe just to me?
Come back.
Oh my god! Can we talk offline about that? I really want it.
That is such a good one.
As far as like the referral stuff goes, unfortunately, it's my understanding that that when the items were like initially released, they used the term like exclusive, which made it very much so like you cannot then use these items again or release them in any capacity outside of that program. So I think those are kind of lost to time.
But if you change it a little bit,
see, and it does enter kind of like a gray area there, which like technically we could do some stuff. But those assets, I mean,
they're great.
Some of them are fine. Like looking at the so you got all those old assets for like the Enforcer and the Marauder, just the vehicles, and the Thresher, which were the Empire specific buggies. But they're not usable models. Like even the Colossus, not usable. Bastion wasn't usable. We had to do a significant amount of work. So anybody who thinks that they just need to turn it on or whatever, like that was totally not the case. And then any time during kind of our 2020 when we added a bunch of stuff, it was definitely like a lot of work. So we could potentially get some new stuff in for sure. And I think that we've kind of elevated our art style a little bit too. So I would like to see some new stuff that's like good stuff.
So with that, have you guys thought of doing, like, I'm sure it has, but are you considering doing the bastions as something you can add a color to, or stuff like that, or a logo?
Yeah, actually, Bastion customization was on the original design,
Draft?
and the terminal is actually set up in such a way that we could potentially do customization in there, but there are hurdles when it comes to basically doing things like at an outfit level, like customizing things at an outfit level. It's just more tech that we need to kind of develop. It's not something that we actually had on the list for 2021, but it might be something that or for 2022 rather, but it might be something that we can kind of look at as we figure out exactly what all of our long-term priorities are.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Yep. Well, I feel like that's all from us here. I would like, if you're still around in chat, the guys from VCats, I promised them questions. They've been running around with us, Rel. They were there they were there during the platoon, and they were playing as well. I told them that, we may have Rel jumping in and doing something. So if you guys are around, come escort us because we may need assistance. So if the VCats guys are still around, get your question in chat right now. We're not going to pull you guys up here because, we want to kind of wrap it up. But Rel, if you want to do, a quick lightning round and you still have a few minutes left, feel free to start going through the chat there, pick up whatever questions you feel like. If someone can post them again so we can have them easily here. Just like you guys did. Everything's pinned, Rel, if you want to go through them. And if someone is from VCats or here, just post your question now, and we're going to try to get it in. Other than that, Rel, really appreciate it. Like, I can't even express, like, how grateful I am that, you took your time to jump by and, let us explore all these questions and get quite a few of them out there. Thank you very, very much. And from now on, just, whatever time you have left, we appreciate it.
Sure.
I think
Sounds
that's
good.
going to be from us.
I think I'm going to run through these questions super quick. Wait, hold on. Are all so pinned are like question compilations?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
I think your compilations are your best bet. Just ripping through them.
Just go through the compilations.
Yeah.
That's
where we can close it off.
Okay, let me repost them in chat real quick.
Someone do that. Don't let him work. Poncho, come on, bro. Post them back in there. Don't make him work for it. We have 1 million people moderating this. Come on.
The pins are like wicked small, Sergeant.
There we go. Yeah. So
I also reply to them if you want to click the reply message. And that should bring them up.
Okay. So they're back in chat.
Very nice. Okay. Dig it. We'll go through bottom to top. Very, very quick. These answers are probably going to sound really blunt for the sake of time, but just realize that it's for the sake of time. Okay. Let's see. How do you stay motivated? We already did that one. Let's see. When will we get the first updated maps for Osher with lattice and bases? Updated maps. So you want to see what it looks like from the 2D? We might be able to tease something out.
That'd be nice.
Might be like early January. What's your goals for PlanetSide 2? That question is so broad.
That requires 1 hour. Keep moving.
Any information on the NSO MPT updates? So we actually have, we prototyped like a sort of like a rumble seat shield that would also double as just like side armor, so you can kind of skill shot it and absorb shots by just like working certain angles. But didn't really like how it felt. I was always kind of partial to the turbo, but didn't want it to be like a budget mag rider either. So it's still kind of a question mark what we want to do with Chimera's special ability. Let's see. Will we be able to look forward to more throwbacks to PlanetSide 1? Deliver a Lodestar, potentially in the future, like we talked about. We'll see how it goes. Are there any plans to have an underwater lightning gun like a torpedo launcher, similar specialization to Skyguard? If we end up doing water stuff, we'll do, or like beyond just the infantry weapons, then we can definitely delve into territory like that. But nothing is decided on. Let's see. Will we get indicators for when implants are active? Things like deep operative, yada, yada, yada. It's something that we would like. but need to set aside time to do it. And there's actually some tech that we need to get that implemented too. So how big is the content update for Osher? Want to know how much space I need to free up? That was a good question. I don't know the answer. Accordion Bunker is often seen as the worst build item due to its terminal. Will the terminal ever be disabled or removed? Kind of undecided on that, but I know where you're coming from. Let's see. If Osher's water is well received, might there be environmental effects in the idea stage? Other environmental effects, like what? Like lava, storms? I don't know.
Oh no, not storms.
Yeah, I think we already tried that. Let's see. How often do you still play PlanetSide 2? Certainly not as much as I would like. My life at the moment has been wake up, do work, basically go to sleep, and then do it over again. There's a lot of work going on, so
yeah, we really appreciate it, Wrel. Yeah, Wrel doesn't play, so we can play.
Amen.
Jeez. Yeah, it was nice, just kind of to go back to play in the platoon today. It's actually been a little bit since I've jumped on PlanetSide 2. So
yeah, SKL is always around. 24/7 platoons. You can always find us.
Keep it in mind. Let's see. BFR is 1. That's not going to happen. Well, I mean, never say never, but no plans for it. Will the Chimera get a unique ability? We just talked about that one. Will there be changes to Heavy Assault Directive at some point? So just so everybody knows, changing directives when people are progressing has a tendency to break things, which is why we don't do that sort of thing all that often, unfortunately. We can always add to a directive, but changing things is something that's kind of difficult to do. Let's see. What are the plans beyond introducing Osher? Oh my gosh, that's a long question. Let's see. From an in-game friend, any plans to improve returns from construction? I don't quite know what that means. If you're talking about experience gain, I don't have a great answer for you. Let's see. SKL, new player experience. How are designing the game? How is it presented to new players? Okay, I think we kind of talked about some of the stuff, so I'm going to skip over. Okay.
Yeah, we can pick a few for you if you want, Wrel. Like we can pick a few of them and then you answer them if you want. We just go over them for you. We have quite a few eyes in here. So if you want us to pick them for you, we can just throw them your way. The ones we know we didn't answer and are a bit productive.
Why don't we do that? I hate to not give everybody kind of a shot.
No, it's all good. There are quite a few that are non-productive. So Kaz, Poncho, and Uber as well.
I'm looking.
Run through them. Let's find one. So let me see here. I have one here. Are you guys considering any ASP perks outside of the ones that we have right now with ASP 2 now? Was that ever a consideration?
Yes. In some form. I'm not gonna. There's like secret stuff, so I'm not gonna go into it too much. But feel free to speculate.
Nice, but it's great to hear. Yeah, it's great to hear. There's something being thought about. Have you ever thought about events in game? This is probably something similar to bringing up the old small alerts. Is that ever something you guys are considering? Maybe building up on the drill format or something other similar to that?
It's something that we talk about on numerous occasions, and we just need to figure out like a good way to do it. I would kind of like to see the return of that sort of thing. I really enjoyed when we had aerial anomalies in particular, and even just
that one was really good.
That was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then the thing is that it's super cool, but then it died out. Like people stopped playing it, so we tried to change it a little bit, or we tried to fix problems with it. And I think kind of made it worse. But even then, we were already seeing interest wane for not just that alert, but other alerts as well. So the challenge that we have is just like how do you make everybody, or how do you create an alert that people want to participate in and will continue to want to participate in?
Maybe reward different types of currency, like different alerts that will give you A7, for example, or something of the sort.
Well, so that's kind of the problem, is that the alerts, they don't require participation. in order to to have success, right? So we're thinking about things like, create directives that are associated with them, which is probably just something that we should do anyway, or create missions that require participation, and that's how you get the reward from the events. Like those sorts of things we've kind of seen some success for even like super boring stuff like the mining drills. Like people don't, I think at least that people don't like to do that, but they will do it anyway for reward.
Yes.
So if we create some more fun stuff, but then tie it to missions, then hopefully we hit like best of both worlds. But it's something that we do talk about from time to time.
Yeah, nice. Good to hear.
I got one here. Is Wrel going to join SKL since we hit that milestone?
Only for the platoon. I have this. I have an outfit that I've had for kind of since start, and I just don't want to give up the name. And I will at some point, probably. But I don't know. I like it.
There we go.
What if we changed ourselves to your outfit?
That's I don't know how
maybe a big offer. Well, we can talk about it.
Yeah. So I've got another one in here. This one is actually from the VCats guys. These guys are the ones that I poked them, Wrel, and I said like, hey, Wrel's gonna come play with us. I would appreciate if you guys could be ready to come assist if it turns to shit real quick. So, and they responded. They were there. They were like, oh, we're going to defend Wrel all day if we need. So, another thank you to VCats, always out there with us. So Lone Wolf asks, as many dedicated players would agree, some of the best fights we ever had were bridge fights. And I feel like most of us here can agree to that. Some of my most memorable fights were bridge fights. Given the nature of the new continent, was anything done to facilitate and maybe improve or maybe, work on bridge fights a bit more? Because I feel like the game flow on Osher, is going to rotate a lot around the bridges. Is that something you guys are looking into? Like, is there anything you can share with us about the bridge fights and what are you guys looking for on Osher?
I don't know that we've made it better per se, but there's definitely there are a lot of bridges on Osher, and sort of the design methodology we're approaching that with is that the bridge is like the most straightforward approach, but it's liable to be choked out, right? So you can also go under the water and kind of around, and the beaches are for the most part meant to be not entirely flanking routes, but they take a little bit longer to traverse. So you have options now where you decide to go to the bridge or not, and there's different risks. So tactical options, I guess.
Nice. Yep. Good to hear. This one is another pretty good one right here. So will Sanctuary ever be open for more exploration, or maybe you guys are planning on adding on to Sanctuary and making it, a bigger hub for other stuff as well?
Yeah, we've kind of been trying to build it out over time. The question that keeps coming up with Sanctuary is just like, what can we do to make it fun? Like right now, we don't have a lot of the space being utilized, even though we tell you to go to different places and things. And there's definitely some things that we could do, like we could put a training room in there. We can put little mini games and that sort of thing in there. But it depends on the return on investment and kind of if there is actually space in Sanctuary, which may not be the case, but we'll have to see.
Yep, sounds good. Cast or Uber, any other ones you have, Poncho?
I've got two, one kind of serious, one a little memey. First, the serious one. Do you have any plans to kind of add ASP or directive weapons to the ASP perks? So like kind of take a Beetlejuice on my NG?
That might be an option.
Ooh!
We did, so just to back up, just so everybody knows, one of the reasons why directive weapons were kept off in the first place, there's two main reasons. The first is just there were some questions about balance, but more importantly was that we tried to have directive weapons kind of maintain class identity, and like in hindsight, don't really know how important that is. because I think that at the end of the day, it's kind of like your character that feels more important than the class in particular. So I don't know. I don't think there would be any harm in like getting a Beetlejuice on your engineer, but yeah, I don't know.
Nice. And then the other question I had that was a little more memey, Rex or Garrus, which one do you think is better?
They're for different purposes, in my opinion. Yeah, like I like Rex, as like the mentality of Rex is sort of fun, and the no nonsense kind of a king. But Garrus is fine, I guess.
Diplomatic approach, both.
Yeah.
All right, nice. So another one in here, and this ties back to kind of what you said. You guys ever considering weather events ever again? Is that something still on the table? Like stuff like storms and any other kind of weather events?
I wouldn't rule it out. There's two main concerns. The first is gameplay, and the second is performance. Performance is something it's always, we've kind of had a tenuous relationship with it over the years, and the gameplay, like we saw from the storm that maybe just a little bit too much. It was intended to be like really heavy, to where like, yes, you need to actually think, you need to actually adapt, but what it came down to is like people wanted to play in a certain way, and then they kind of weren't able to play in that way that they wanted to. And it comes back to that, just like the two different mentalities. I think the outfits were more able to kind of like roll with the punches, and then the players that just wanted the good fights were the ones who were just like really suffering because the senators were being destroyed and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I feel like that on the macro side, it was interesting to kind of try to outmaneuver the storm from time to time. But we can understand that breaking up the good fights for the farmers out there is definitely something they didn't look forward to. So nice. Any other ones you guys are seeing out there?
Unless there's something pretty outstanding, I think we're hitting a good natural time to.
Yeah, I feel like we're pretty good in here. Wrel, I have one that I wanted to finish up. Someone just brought it up in chat as well, and I feel like this is something that even you saw being talked about, and I saw that you guys are already doing something about. Like, where's the discussion right now about like the server hardware? Because I can't quite pinpoint, and we were talking about it some time ago, but there does seem to have been a bit worse for the past few weeks. And it may just be because of population from the holidays. But, can you tell us anything else about that? Like the server seems to be, dying a bit more.
Yeah, so Emerald in particular is definitely having some issues. We're monitoring it right now. We were hoping that this weekend we'd get some more data so that we can make more actionable changes. It looked like things started to get worse after the anniversary update, and I don't know that it was caused by that, but there may have been some server or configuration things that kind of took place in tandem with that or shortly after. But that's when we started seeing some real spikes. On Esamir in particular, it looks like any time that there's like more than 500 players on it, it just takes a dump, and the server frame rates go down really low. So we're hoping to gather some information this week, and then we'll talk about it on Monday to see if there's anything that we can kind of action on. We did make some changes last Monday, and then there was like an outage that happened right after that, which was a little obnoxious. And they were totally unrelated, but they just based on the timing, you'd kind of think they're intertwined. But the network engineering team made some changes to some of the routing that was taking place actually I can't remember the specifics of it. Anyway, they made most of the issues better, but it seems like Esamir in particular is the one that keeps having really heavy issues. And then we saw a spike today on Indoor as well. Yeah,
but Esamir is definitely a hard point. Like the live server has been avoiding Esamir at all costs. Like we don't even go there anymore if there's any other options, because it is pretty insane.
yeah, we're gonna try to take care of it as soon as we can. Obviously, that doesn't create a great experience for everybody. So, and we don't want that, especially over break.
It's fantastic to hear. Yeah, we can tell that like it is a very hard thing to kind of pinpoint on your side as well. But just wanted to know if there is like where you guys standing on that right now. So yeah, great to hear. Really appreciate it, Ralph. Good Lord, I feel like I just got slapped by Papa Vano. Do you guys feel enlightened? I feel enlightened right now.
I do. I do.
The power of Wrel compels you.
Oh my God, I feel so enlightened right now. So, yeah, Uber, I think you're right there. Wrel, I honestly can't express like how thankful I am, and the community in general, for just having you around and taking so much time to just hang out with us. The platoon was amazing, just fantastic to have you around playing with us. And just taking so much time. When we started out, I said that I didn't want it to overwhelm you with questions. I feel like we may have failed a little bit there. But yeah, just fantastic. I'm very, very thankful. I feel like, everyone is just completely blown out of their minds by having you around to answer so much. So yeah, everyone, just give Rel some love on chat there. Let's all say our farewells, and Rel, from now on it's all yours. If you want to say something else, but other than that, we've held you here for long enough. I think that's more than enough here.
Cool. Yeah, thank you all for having me. It was definitely a lot of fun, and we won the alert thanks to not just the platoon, but all the other the people who are babysitting me. So thank you very much. I look forward to not only just like seeing you all in game, but also what you can do as a community moving forward. And you've already done so much. So thanks again.
Thank you.
Yep. Really
Thanks so much, man.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thanks to everybody who came out as well, and the streamers who came and honestly just played ball with us for the first hour or so, not publicizing it, letting our platoon just go together and be a platoon proper and actually be effective without getting targeted. So thank you for everybody coming out, and we hope we all had a very good time. I know I personally did. No toilet flush came out of this, but maybe one day.
We can pray. And just finally, I know we've just done like 1,000 thank you, but big thanks to the donators who made this at all possible. If we didn't reach our milestones, this never would have happened. And you guys made some real change, and it was awesome. It was absolutely awesome. So thank you to all of you. Hopefully you got your money's worth by being able to play today.
Yeah, absolutely. Zavrex, like our top donor, I believe, he didn't leave any question for you, Rel, so he didn't actually wanted to ask anything. But I'll just quote him, so he doesn't need to jump up here. I'm not sure if he's around. So he just left you a message. I felt like writing for you. Just please keep the game and this community I love alive. You're doing great, and I hope you guys keep expanding on the game. And I feel like, this is the sentiment for everyone that's still loving the game to this day. We're just very thankful, Rel. Really appreciate your work, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you all. We'll catch you later.
Yep, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Everyone,
Thank you.
This band, that's all. Really appreciate you all. We'll catch you on the next one.
And Rel, we'll message you through the Twitter chat for the logo stuff.
Yep.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Thanks.
You have a good one. Really appreciate it, Rel.
Elite Command, guys. I'm going to hop in Elite Command first.
Oh, boy.
You want to jump in?
Yep. Everyone,
All right, I'm going to wrap up the stream.
Hope you all enjoyed,
Yeah,
everybody. GG's.
Thanks, folks.
Yep.
I call meeting adjourned.